This bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Alex Campbell's Menswear.
Tonight on the South Today, if you find a wasp nest in your back garden, there's a team of university researchers who will take it away free of charge. A new attraction is available for both young and old in Dunedin over the school holidays. And Christmas shoppers in the Meridian Mall had a bit of a surprise when a dinosaur appeared in their midst. Tēnā koutou katoa, ngā mihi o te ahi nei, kia ora. I'm Simon Anderson. If you find a wasp nest in your back garden, there's a team of university researchers who will take it away free of charge. Biochemists are taking the first steps in using genetic manipulation to exterminate wasps from New Zealand.
Scenes like this of someone eradicating a wasp nest may become a thing of the past if research by University of Otago scientists pans out.
We're interested in trying to find ways of getting rid of them genetically without using just widespread poisons that are going to hit the environment and other insects. And the end goal, if our research is fruitful and the New Zealand public agrees, we'll try and have some gene editing way to get rid of wasps from New Zealand where they're a pest, while leaving them overseas where they have evolved completely fine, where they're important to those ecosystems.
PhD student Josh Gilligan is one of several scientists looking into manipulating the genetic code of pests introduced to New Zealand. Wasps are a major factor in the predation of native bees and even young native birds when still in their nests. To help their research, Gilligan's team have already collected about 40 wasp nests over the past few years, but they still need more, and are asking the public to help locate wasp nests, which they'll happily remove at no cost.
We do it for free, whereas an exterminator will just come in and cost probably an arm and a leg. But yeah, we do it for free, and we have the end goal of trying to get rid of them forever. So, yeah.
He says dealing with an angry wasp nest is a challenge, especially during the peak season of late summer.
You have to be head to toe in a bee suit, normally wearing double denim underneath so they can't sting through it. Arms and legs and shoes like duct taped, and then you're digging in the heat of summer, wearing all of that with a shovel for a couple of hours while you're trying to be stung. So it's not the easiest thing. It gets very hot, it gets very stressful.
Anyone discovering the location of a wasp nest over this summer is invited to contact the Department of Biochemistry at the University of Otago. In Dunedin, the South Today.
A grass fire in the Cromwell Basin over the weekend was caused by a spark created when a tractor hit a stone. Fire officers say the fire, which burnt 20 hectares, was fanned by strong northwest winds. The farmer mowing the grass thought he had extinguished the fire, but noticed it had flared again when he looked at his tractor's rear view mirror. It took fire crews from across the region plus 2 helicopters several hours to contain the blaze. People are urged to consider the weather and wind conditions before carrying out activities such as grass mowing. A new attraction is available for both young and old in Dunedin over the school holidays. Bumper cars on ice allow drivers to use collisions to propel other drivers across the ice rink.
Bumper cars are the new attraction at Dunedin's Ice Stadium, with about a third of the rink over the school holidays dedicated to the little one-person vehicles which are able to bash into other drivers, sending them sliding across the ice.
It's a completely different experience, unlike traditional bumper cars where you sort of just hit each other and that's it. Here you can actually knock people across the ice, which is pretty satisfying. So, no, people are loving it. It's great.
Dunedin is the second location in New Zealand after Queenstown to feature these bumper cars, which can be driven by anyone who's over 6 years of age and over 110 centimetres tall.
It's pretty straightforward. You've got 2 gear sticks. To go forward, you push both forward. To go back, pull both back. Put them in opposite directions, you're going to spin around. You can spin pretty quickly, so no one's thrown up yet. Hopefully it stays that way.
The ice stadium intends to have the bumper cars operating for at least 1 hour a day all next year, but over the school holidays the sessions expanded to 3 hours, with the cars available to the public from midday until 3 p.m.
There's only so many activities, especially with young kids, so this just provides another one to throw in the mix there, really. Yeah, obviously this year's had a lot of curveballs, but we'll get through it.
Ticket prices for the bumper cars on ice are $10 for 15 minutes. In Dunedin, the South Today.
The 4 occupants of a Queen's townhouse escaped unharmed when it was severely damaged by fire yesterday. 4 crews from the Queenstown and Frankton Volunteer Fire Brigades went to the blaze in Nugget Knob Goldfield Heights, along with a command unit from Alexandra, after the alarm was raised by a rubbish truck worker at about 10:30 a.m. Queenstown Chief Fire Officer Terry O'Connell says the 2-storey house is one of the 2 adjoining units and was well involved when they arrived. He says it took about 15 minutes to put out the blaze, leaving the upper floor bedroom pretty much blacked out. The adjoining unit had light smoke damage. Christmas shoppers in Meridian Mall had a bit of a surprise when a dinosaur appeared in their midst. However, it hadn't escaped from the Otago Museum. It was there part of a locally organised random act of art.
Don't look now, Santa, but there's a dinosaur entering the mall. Random Acts of Art coordinator Cindy Diver says their aim is to spread some joy at what can be a stressful time of the year.
So our project is to try and use art to help people feel good about themselves and the world and be connected, because we're all in this weird post-COVID world together, and I think stuff like this makes people smile.
This is another event on the Random Acts of Art calendar, and Diver says oversized inflatable reptiles appeal to kids of all ages.
Kids love dinos, but strangely enough grown-ups do too. So people love coming having their photo taken with the dino, but also the dino loves to dance.
After sauntering through the Meridian, taking selfies with many people, the Triceratops found a group of dancers from the Rasa School, and then stunned spectators with some excellent dance moves. Lisa Wilkinson is the principal of the Rasa School of Dance and says the collaboration with the dinosaur's handler seems like a fun thing to do for a mall full of shoppers.
Yeah, we thought we'd just try something new because, we're inclusive. We're quite an inclusive dance school. We like to dance for all. So I thought that adding a Triceratops would be something we haven't done before.
Wilkinson says this has been a long time coming.
Well, Cindy and I have known each other for a while. She's done a few dance classes. I've done a few theatre things. So she just emailed me quite a while ago, and we just have only just been able to find the time to do this collaboration the week of Christmas, which is perfect.
Cindy Diver says people can expect more random acts of art around Dunedin, but wouldn't say where or when, as they're random. In Dunedin, the South Today.
Still to come on the South Today, we chase rumours of a significant film production in the South, and we visit a museum with a difference in central Otago. Ka kite a koe.
Here I am in the middle of George Street, corner of Hanover and George. Come and see what I get in here. This is where I go shopping. So look what I can choose from in here. It's fantastic. Knitwear, flash shirts. Look at those flash shirts. Trousers, jeans, pullovers. Oh look, they've got some hoodies. I love hoodies.
Every reason, every season, we're proud to dress the region. Alex Campbell Menswear, it fits.
But my friend Lindsay, he says this store's only here till January the 10th, so I better dash. See you later.
If you're at risk of developing melanoma skin cancer, You owe it to yourself to have a mole map. Mole Map is coming to your area. Phone today to make an appointment. It could save your life.
For over 100 years, Presbyterian Support has been helping people in your region through all conditions, ages and stages of life. Our Enliven and Family Work services are always there when you need them. People in your community are facing unprecedented challenges and they need your help. By making a donation to your local Presbyterian Support in South Canterbury, Otago or Southland, you'll be helping us to help people where you live. Together we can make a difference. We are people helping people.
A poorly maintained heat pump can lose up to 35% of its output. The Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner team are experts. Their specially developed chemical wash is totally biodegradable. Call Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner and get the job done by the professionals.
Hoki mai anō. The US-based online video streaming service Netflix has been linked to a possible feature film shoot in Dunedin. A Netflix production filmed in Dunedin earlier this year brought Hollywood A-listers Kirsten Dunst and Benedict Cumberbatch to Dunedin and Oamaru locations. The production, which used mostly out-of-town crews, was predicted to inject more than $30 million into the local economy. Southern Television crews have since been asked about their availability for work in February next year, suggesting the new mystery project could be of much lower budget. Netflix has yet to respond to a request for comment. When a letter was handed to a Wakatipu High School pupil in pouring rain at Branches Camp, he had no idea what it was about. It turned out to be good news that his teacher made sure was a surprise.
These scenes are from a film called Miss You by Wakatipu High School pupil Kane Viggers, which recently won him top honours at the NZ On-Screen Screen Test competition.
Well, at the start of the year, my English teacher told me about it, and she told me that the theme was justice, but I had nothing up my sleeves, so I didn't think about entering the film competition. And then a few months later, I made the film Miss You, and then she went behind my back and submitted it without telling me. And then I found out on camp that I won, and I was pretty damn happy.
Viggers believes his English teacher Jennifer Smart may have seen the film on his YouTube channel and entered it in the competition on his behalf, albeit without his consent. He says the idea for Miss You came from an incident in his life which he then embellished.
So my dad flew off to Australia 2 years ago to go work at a vineyard, and so I don't see him as often. So I tried to build on that idea to give the idea that he died. So the film's about if he was dead and how much I would miss him, and so it's kind of based around that. And at the end, I try to remember him by writing his name in stones. And
the competition's judges were impressed by the maturity of the piece and his ability to tell the story with clarity. At a shade over 2 minutes and 30 seconds long, he says the film is his shortest yet, and didn't take too long to make.
2 hours actually. It's the shortest film that I've ever made, and the one that I put the least amount of effort into, and it turned out to be my best film, so what do you know?
He's now due to fly up to Wellington and spend time with film production teams from the Weta group of companies, who've worked on blockbusters including Thor and the Hobbit series. In Queenstown, The South Today.
If you're looking for an interesting museum to visit when you're travelling through Central Otago next, you could consider the Hayes Engineering Works in Oturihua. The Working Museum is the site of workshops that developed tools for everyday farm use in the early part of last century.
When the wheels start turning at Hayes Engineering Works in Oturihua, watch out for fingers and toes. The factory at the former home of Ernest and Hannah Hayes was the birthplace of a raft of inventions. On operating days, local guide Ken Gillespie helps visitors discover the workshop.
I take people through with the works operating on a regular basis. This is where the Hayes manufacture first began in the late 1800s. Hayes are probably best known for their wire strainers and their windmills. And that goes to the hand wire strainer, which is still used today, and also the permanent wire strainer, which is mounted permanently on the fence.
A box of patterns returned to the site showed how industrious the factory was.
The box there, it came back from Hayes in Christchurch, from Les Hayes. He had no further use for them in Christchurch, so felt they should be back perhaps where they came from. The patterns were made here, a lot of them, by Les's father Lou. He was the pattern maker when they were here, and he would make the patterns here, send the patterns to the foundry, and Dunedin was the shipyard of New Zealand in the early days. To get the casting, you put the wooden pattern into a sand mould, and then you take the wooden pattern out of the sand mould and pour the casting into the sand mould.
Many innovations were developed at the factory.
You know, we can get a bit of snow here in the winter, and it's not much fun getting around in a vehicle in the snow, and they made up clamps to go around the solid rubber tyre wooden spoked rim. Put 3 or 4 of those around the wheel, and that got you around in the snow. So you put your tyre in here and tie it across the top, and that would keep it on the wheel, and that got you around in the snow, just like chains.
The site is unique as it remained largely unchanged, offering a fascinating insight into early 20th century production.
After the Hayes moved to Christchurch in 1952, Clive Hayes and Doug Smith remained on here and kept the works operational, albeit more for maintenance than manufacture. In the mid-1970s, Doug got to the point where he had to retire. He was past the point of staying by himself, and the place had to be sold, and we were very fortunate that the postmaster of the time, Mark Pothan, recognised the significance of the complex here and got in touch with John Daniels of, then it was Historic Places Trust in Wellington, and John came down and had a look and said, well, yeah, I think we can swing it, because the interest rates were high at that stage and they were operating on interest from investments, and here, Historic Places Trust bought it, which is now, of course, Heritage New Zealand. The advent of the Otago Central Rail Trail has, of course, put a lot more people coming through the area, and that's been the basis for establishing the cafe that we have now, and also has enabled Heritage New Zealand to put a lot more back in to this area to restore it back to what it was.
In Oturihua for the South Today.
After the break on the South Today, we've nearly reached the end of our look back in the year in news as we reflect on November and we check out the weather for Christmas tentatively. Hea koko aki nei.
Welcome to Alex Campbell Menswear. Our 3 stores have no shortage of stock. Check these out. We've got the Dunedin print t-shirts. Check out our zillions of short sleeve shirts. These are crackers. They iron themselves in the wash. Iron cheater they're called. And there's some really cool polo shirts. Look at all the bright colours. And of course there's no shortage of shorts. This is always one of our brightest corners. Our long sleeve fashion shirts. Jeans, casual trousers, dress trousers, you name it, we have you covered.
Alex Campbell Menswear, it fits.
So if you're shopping for your family or yourself, come and see Alex Campbell Menswear stores. We're full of stock.
Do PVC windows and doors. PVC is 9% more efficient than standard aluminium and 60% more efficient than thermally broken aluminium. It's multi-chambered, you don't get any condensation through the frame. And if you put decent glass in, you get a big difference to aluminium.
Step into Shop on Carrot and discover a shop full of treasures. We have a fantastic range of vintage and retro clothes, upmarket clothing labels, collectible items, beautiful jewellery, quality linen and the best range of vintage haberdashery.
Here I am in the middle of George Street, corner of Hanover and George. Come and see what I get in here. This is where I go shopping. So look what I can choose from in here. It's fantastic. Knitwear, flash shirts. Look at those flash shirts. Trousers, jeans, pullovers. Oh look, they've got some hoodies. I love hoodies.
Every reason, every season, we're proud to dress the region. Alex Campbell Menswear, it fits.
But my friend Lindsay, he says this store's only here till January the 10th, so I better dash. See you later.
If you're at risk of developing melanoma skin cancer, you owe it to yourself to have a mole map. Mole map is coming to your area. Phone today to make an appointment. It could save your life.
A poorly maintained heat pump can lose up to 35% of its output. The Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner team are experts. Their specially developed chemical wash is totally biodegradable. Call Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner and get the job done by the professionals.
Ah, TV, our favourite babysitter. But it can be tough keeping up with what our tamariki are watching. Luckily, the Broadcasting Standards Authority has made some smart changes to the classification labels. Ooh! Plus changes to the time of day certain rated shows will air and awesome new parental lock features, meaning your babysitter's job is safe. Find out more at safeviewing.co.nz.
Lord, 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 hear it more. Don't you hear Jerusalem more? Don't you hear Jerusalem more? Bring the man he used to be back. My armor already cut to the bone. Don't you dare take that country out of me.
No Maya Nor. In the lead up to Christmas, we're taking a look back at news highlights from the last 12 months. A New Zealand airline took a gamble at reinstating passenger services to Wanaka in November, and women's world motocross rider Courtney Duncan returned from her second championship win in Italy.
After a 7-year break, passenger flights resumed between Wanaka and Christchurch in November. Community leaders were hoping the new venture would be a success.
I think this is right for Wanaka, and good to see some local residents out here using it this morning.
A new mountain bike trail was opened near Queenstown, providing a vertical descent of more than 1 kilometre at Coronet Peak. Organisers were hoping it would become part of a bucket list for local and eventually overseas tourists. Over a dozen protesters blocked trucks from entering the Balance Agri-Nutrients depot. It was part of an ongoing objection to New Zealand using phosphate fertiliser mined from a disputed area in Western Sahara. It was a hero's welcome for two-time world motocross champion Courtney Duncan as she arrived back home. She'd won one of her races in Italy in spectacular fashion after being thrown off her motorbike at the start.
I went down on the first corner and I was indeed last, and I mean, that's just, when you put yourself in that position, it's not ideal, it's not what you want, especially when you know you need to win. So I just put my head down and charged through the pack, and definitely proud of the way I was able to come through to the lead and even to stay composed under so much pressure, obviously.
And a 24-day hunt for a missing dog ended with a miraculous discovery of a 9-year-old black Labrador named Roxy trapped under a pile of logs. A vet said there was nothing wrong with Roxy, who must have had enough rainwater to stay hydrated. In the Wakatipu Basin, the South Today.
And now recapping tonight's top stories on the South Today. If you find a wasp nest in your back garden, there's a team of university researchers who will take it away free of charge. A new attraction is available for both young and old in Dunedin over the school holidays. And Christmas shoppers in the Meridian Mall had a bit of a surprise when a dinosaur appeared in their midst. Now for a look at what's happening in tomorrow's ODT, we have Craig Page with us this evening. Got it, Craig?
Good evening. A bit of a sobering story leading up to Christmas. Food banks throughout Otago reporting that demand's up 4 times higher than previous Christmases. I guess a lot of people will say it's no surprise. In Dunedin alone, 250 food parcels have been handed out in December. And they're expecting that to increase further once those credit card bills start kicking in after Christmas. COVID's thought to be one of the main reasons behind lots of people out of jobs or on reduced hours as well. But just the general cost of living, I guess, rents or electricity, all those sorts of bills are just stretching the pay packet too far. So yeah, a bit of a concern. The flip side, of course, is that the community have really rallied this year and they're getting lots of contributions into the food banks, which are helping out. Yeah, and I guess that's something to think about as you reach for that extra slice of pavlova on Friday, so bear that in mind. Bit of a Christmas theme for our final paper before Christmas Day. We've been out to look at some Christmas lights around the city, and we have a bit of a chat to some of those homeowners to see what really drives them to light up their house like that. We also preview what the weather's going to be like for Christmas as well. Bit of a hint there, bring a rain jacket. And farmers market today, we're out there today as well. Lots of queues, people cashing in on the goodies, strawberries, raspberries and new potatoes. Quick to go. So yeah, and on our sports pages we look ahead to the domestic Super Smash season, which gets underway tomorrow. Otago's first game 28th in Alexandra. So yeah, we'll see how they go as well.
Great, Kate. Thank you.
Thank you.
And time now for a look at that weather.
Tonight's weather proudly brought to you by Mole Map.
Beginning with the southern view, a group of cranes operating on a boat in Otago Harbour. To the situation, it looks like Santa's requested cloud cover and more to make his trip. A cold southwest airflow lasts through till Boxing Day with widespread and frequent showers for the region and even thunderstorms over the next few days. We see that rain in the northwest, 18 for Westport and 17 degrees for Greymouth. A bit lighter up top, though still scattered showers for Nelson on 23 and Blenheim on 25 degrees. Wet too over the eastern side, rain for Kaikoura on 19 degrees, showers for Christchurch and Ashburton on 19 and 16 degrees respectively. The southern towns only mix things up slightly. Freshening southwesterlies accompany the showers here, all towns on 15 degrees. Things intensify in central, thunderstorms for Wanaka and Queenstown both on 17 degrees. Just rain and wind for Alexandra and Te Anau though. Moderate southwesterlies accompany Alexandra's 18 degree high, while it's fresh northerlies and 14 in Te Anau. The thunder rolls through the middle of the island, thunderstorms, southwesterlies and 17 degrees for Twizel and Omarama, showers and variable winds for Oamaru and Timaru on 16 and 17 degrees. In Dunedin, rain tonight with an overnight low of 13 degrees. It's a mix of rain and cloud for the next 2 days, maybe clearing a little tomorrow afternoon as fresh southwesterlies blow through, a high of 16 and a low of 10. On Christmas, you might have to start the barbecue very early. It looks like rain after mid-morning with light variable winds and a high of 14 and a low of 9. And in Invercargill, rains ease to showers tonight with an overnight low of 11. Mostly cloudy and cold tomorrow and Christmas Day with frequent showers and fresh gusty southwest winds, highs of 14 and 13 with an overnight low of 9 degrees both nights. And that's the news this Wednesday. For the latest news from the southern region, head online to odt.co.nz or follow Channel 39 on Facebook and YouTube. Nō reira, kia pai te pō, ka kite anō.
This bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Alex Campbell's Menswear.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.